Cheers, and welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be looking at expanding to planets in Factorio. It is part 2 in Martin Citapance's Factorio videos. And I mean, I really enjoyed the last one. I definitely thought we were in space when we started the last one, and then I think we're not. But now we are. We've gotten to space for sure. We at least have satellites, so we're building more rockets. So basically, we'll play our little drinking game here. Our little drinking game usually involves when things are just excess. If there's just too much, for comedic effect and no other reason, we drink. And we will also drink whenever there is a friendly fire incident. This seems to happen quite a lot, and so I am adding it to this game. It also exists in several of the others, but it's going to exist for Martin Citapance. Friendly fire and just sheer chaos. We'll drink for both of those things. If you want to see more stuff like this, make sure you let me know in the comments below which Martin Citapance videos I should react to next. Or if there's something else in particular you would like me to look at, you can also let me know there. And now, without any further ado, let us begin.
Good evening.
Hello.
Welcome back to Factorio. Last video we installed the space exploration mod, built a big old factory, laid waste to our enemies, constructed a rocket, and launched ourselves into the great beyond. In this video we expand even further. More death, more destruction, and more development of unprecedented risk management strategy through scalable microactions. In this video we won't just be going to space, but other whole planets. The entire solar system will not be spared from our reach. So, let us continue. But before we can continue, I must fulfill my obligations. Opera GX. That's right, boyos, this video is sponsored by Opera GX, the speediest gamer web browser you have ever seen in your entire life. Are you tired of these stinky web browsers vacuuming up all your RAM? Can't watch my videos in crystal clear 1440p because you're a Wikipedia goblin and forgot to close those 8,000 tabs about the most random shit imaginable, like the surname. Well, worry not, fuckos. Opera GX is here to save. Download it now with my link in the description and use GX Control. Stop sucking up my RAM. Done. Stop sucking up my CPU. Done. Stop sucking. No. You can even limit the network bandwidth used, so when you download your 8 terabytes of smut, it doesn't interfere with your intense gamer session. Gentlemen, you can customize this browser to your heart's content. Dark mode, light mode. Force dark mode on every page so that this doesn't happen to you. And best of all, my very own wallpaper. Simply phenomenal. Fellas, we need to do something very important. Download Opera GX, click this button in the top right, use custom wallpaper, get more wallpapers, download my wallpaper, and rate it 5 stars. Has Opera GX told me to do this? No, this is purely for my own vanity. We are currently at 23 ratings, but we need to have more. Jay Schlatt has 194, Russian Badger has 272, and PewDiePie has 748. And we can do better. What are you waiting for, fuckos? Each passing day, my ego must grow larger. Finally, if you download using my link, you get a small section from my past few uploads, so you will never miss a video ever again. And let's continue.
But first, if you want to drink what I am drinking, well, first you're going to have to find some rhubarb and like boil it down and then have the rhubarb juice set aside. That is a key ingredient in this particular drink. But this is just basically 1.5 ounces of vodka, 3/4 of the rhubarb syrup, and this is a splash of triple sec, splash of lime juice. It's very simple. I put the triple sec and the lime juice in to sort of mitigate some of the sweetness from the rhubarb. Which the rhubarb syrup, when you like boil it down because of the sugar, gets kind of sweet, but this is going to be tasty. It is. And if you want some, that's what I have. You could also use a different like flavoring, I used rhubarb. You could use pomegranate. You could use cherry if you really wanted to, which I don't think that sounds good, but you know, whatever fruit you've got, that's the syrup you want.
Now, you may be asking, Mr. Mart, why has it been over a year since the last Factorio video? Well, I've been lazy, but I do have some excuses. For one, Ben and I in our infinite wisdom decided that this perfectly good, albeit a bit laggy factory wasn't good enough, and we just had to restart. So we switched up the mods a bunch and spent another 100 hours building a giant factory. Huge production facilities, a totally necessary and not pain in the ass 8-lane train network, and a room full of the most precious resource. At around 100 hours, we managed to get the first cargo rocket up and got ourselves into space. And then we were like, you know what? This world kind of stinks. I don't like the mods. Everything is too goddamn large. And generally, it has an unpleasant vibe. So, once again, in our infinite wisdom, we abandoned that world and started over again. So, of course, day 1. The crash landing, big space laser death rays, and setting up the starter base, basic mining, basic smelting, red and green science, a blue 2021 Dodge Challenger, and most importantly, our text plates. Penis, 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 and the Zaza. 2 hours in, things were going well. And then, we built an entire factory. Now, I'm just going to say that this was an intelligent storytelling choice, and definitely not me forgetting to record anything for over 40 hours. During those 40 hours, we built a whole factory. We constructed a runway for our brand new aircraft and covered it in poop. Tristan wrote a beautiful haiku. Okay.
Oh, by the way, I do remember there, like, I mentioned this on another video, speaking of haikus. I have some, some fun, well, they're Game of Thrones inspired haikus. So they get a little bit raunchy at one point. But if you want to see those haikus, let me know. Some people in the other video wanted to see them. So I've got to figure out how to make that happen. Maybe I'll make it like a Patreon thing that, like, we'll just do like a haikus with Lauren sesh, and I'll read some of my poems. My silly Game of Thrones inspired, from the perspective of Sandor Clegane, haikus.
Okay. He developed a powerful addiction to cement, built some concrete production, and then was never heard from, ever again. These 40 hours of Factorioing were done before I went to America to make this video, so I wasn't under any particular time pressure. But if I wanted to get this video out in time, things would have to get efficient up.
I should be watching that Australians Take America, right? I should probably watch that because they mention us in the description. I should probably look at that video. I know Kit did.
Which is a problem for me because if I play Factorio for too long, my brain goes woo, 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 woo.
I was about to say, are we sure that his brain doesn't do that anyway? But that felt a little bit mean.
And I walk around in circles for hours at a time, doing nothing. And so, not wanting to dilly-dally any further, Ben and I set our sights on launching to space. Day 2. Time to launch to space. Ben and I loaded up the cargo rocket with a bunch of supplies and did our maiden launch for the 3rd time. And... space, baby! Up there to greet us was this asteroid covered in junk and a bunch more useful stuff that we wouldn't be able to get for quite a while. So, after cleaning off the asteroid, we got to work on today's goal. Space science. Like all the other sciences, but space. While I was hard at work expanding our scientific capabilities, Ben busied himself with the construction of infrastructure.
I don't know, I have a better idea, Mom.
Building stuff in space presents a whole new type of logistical challenge. Where do I get materials? Well, there are a few options. Sending them up in cargo rockets, or using these. Delivery cannons. Delivery cannons do exactly what you'd expect. They shoot stuff into space. For them to work properly, we need a special chest for the goods to land in, and a way of telling them to turn on and off, so this doesn't happen. Deciding on which transport mode to use presents quite the conundrum. Which items do we send via rocket? Is it worth sending the basic plates with delivery cannons, or is that impractical? Making things even more difficult was the fact that some items we got in space couldn't really be used up here, and had to be dealt with somehow. Ben, however, while trying to reconstruct the fish tunnel from our second base, gentlemen, the fish tunnel, found the perfect solution to that particular problem.
I don't know, scrap in here.
Just fucking flinging it into space. So, after wiring everything together, building delivery cannon chests, making a transmitter and receiver, and setting up our little space science production, before we knew it, space science was done. Bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, look at that.
This process takes a fair bit of energy, so using our combined 3.5 brain cells, we did this.
It's really fucking impossible to walk.
We are intelligent Factorio engineers. Back down on Norvis, we had a few issues. For one, a coronal mass ejection. Our umbrella defense took all the power from the factory, causing a giant blackout, but none of our base was damaged, and one of the CME beams even barbecued some biters. So thumbs up from me. Secondly, our flimsy walls were being eaten yet again.
I'm gonna take him on.
No, Ben, no!
I'm gonna fucking die. Ben.
For us to work efficiently in space, and eventually on other planets, our defenses would have to be self-sufficient. What we needed to do was build a wall. Day 3. Oh no. Time to build A wall. If you cast your mind back to the previous video, we got away with minimal wall building because you could just build an impervious moat with everyone's favorite item, water fill. Of course, our peaceful moat building eventually turned into this. Well, the mod author, clearly having seen the utter shenanigans one can achieve with a bit of water fill, tragically put a stop to it.
Aww.
Truly a sad day for Bean Boys Incorporated. For this world, we decided not to use water fill since it's really not that fun, so instead we had to build an actual wall with actual defenses. So we built an actual wall with actual defenses. Here's the blueprint. Some flamethrower turrets for the big damage, laser turrets to finish them off, and 2 layers of self-healing mending walls to keep out those spiders. To top it all off, we have straight sections, gay sections, and train stops for our repair train to come and visit
Oh, speaking of Happy Pride, it's still Pride. I'm gonna say Happy Pride.
when things need repairing.
Still
Now,
it is.
what's the
Still
point
month.
of spending all this time designing and building a shiny new wall if it doesn't expand our territory? So, I hopped in the attack helicopter and expanded our territory. This is where our most powerful mod came into effect. And no, I'm not talking about the helicopter. I'm talking about the replacement of explosion sounds with vine booms. Once it was all said and done, thousands of biters had been laid off, evicted, and burnt to death, and our territory had been greatly expanded. Now, of course, let's build that wall. During construction, I had what some might refer to as a silly clown moment. To help speed things up, I'd been making good use of the jetpack, but the jetpack takes fuel, and I ran out. Rough. Walking all the way back was gonna take me ages, so instead of using my shit-ass legs, I handcrafted a Dodge Challenger in about half a second, and drove it back to base. Automating space science allowed us to research a lot of new things. New machines,
Growth facility grows biological specimens under a range of controlled conditions.
grows biological specimens, me. But most importantly, everyone's favorite weapon system. Artillery. Huh. Well, I guess the wall works pretty well. Now that the base perimeter had been secured, it was time to expand the factory to other worlds. Day 4. Siegel, the site of our next grand expansion. Siegel is a small moon rich in Cryonite, the first resource that we can't just get on Norvus. And Cryonite, we would be needing. So to get started, I fired up the creative world and spent a few hours creating. Cryonite presents a bunch of new challenges. First of all, it's not practical to put the processing plant on Norvus because Cryonite ore only stacks at 20, which kinda makes moving it around a bit of a gigantic pain in the ass. But Cryonite rods stack to 200, and each
See, he keeps saying Cryonite. And the joke that's in my head is like, I only cry at day in the daytime. But like, I'm like, but he's not going for the Cryonite joke. And I'm like, he needs to go for the Cryonite joke. It's right there. And now every time he says it, I needed to get it out of my chest. Sorry about that. We can drink when I'm an idiot.
Each Cryonite rod takes 10 Cryonite ore, so that's 100 times better. Well, to make the rods, we need heavy oil, and the only way for us to get that is with oil processing, so we need to make some oil processing, but then we also need a way to deal with the light oil and petroleum byproducts, so we turn this into solid fuel, and then since another step in the process uses steam, we use the solid fuel in a boiler to make our steam, but it doesn't need that much steam, so we boil off the steam in turbines, but the turbines only turn on when the solar panels don't produce enough energy, so we need a way of turning off the solar panels when we need to burn off the steam, and then that step that takes steam also produces water, so we need a way of making sure the water tank isn't full, and not to mention the fucking mountains of sand produced. Why is there so much sand? So yeah, it's already pretty complicated, and this is the simplest new resource. With all that being said, here's the blueprint. So, time for our next big venture. Before leaving, I had written out a comprehensive, exhaustive list of everything we would need. Except, of course, cliff explosives, substations, construction box, and logistics bots. I forgot. I built a big solar field to power the base, sent it on the rocket with all the stuff I forgot, and then sat back and let our good old botters do all the hard work. After an hour, the facility was done, and we had made our first Cryonite rods. Yes! To take them back to Norvis, I built another rocket, another landing pad, and flew myself back home. And there we go, boys. Cryonite was now available. The first thing we needed it for was making utility science, so I hooked it up to a delivery cannon, went back into space, stuck down a bunch more machines, and before I knew it, utility science was done. Yes! Finally, we could research logistics system, and the factory could grow even larger. Day 5.
Just saying, like, this seems like a lot of work in this game. Like, good lord. Does everybody play like this? Or is like this the way that it's meant to be done? Or is Martin Cedar Pants going the extra mile? Because this seems like a lot of effort.
Time for the factory to grow even larger. Using our new logistics chest, we began reconstruction of our space base to use a bus design. And tragically, in the process of building our new bus, this happened.
Oh no.
Funnily enough, this train had not been touched for over 20 hours and was still spinning. I finished up the side of our bus and rebuilt the science production to make a respectable 60 science per minute. Utility science was done, now it was time for production science. Production science uses Vulcanite, and so it was time for more creative world. Vulcanite, like Cryonite, has its own set of unique challenges. First off, Vulcanite stacks to 20, so once again we want to make it into Vulcanite blocks. Vulcanite ore goes into pulverizers, gets pulverized into crushed Vulcanite, enriched Vulcanite, and even more fucking sand. The crushed and enriched Vulcanite and then used in centrifuges with some added sulfur, which produces even more enriched Vulcanite through a feedback loop. The enriched and crushed is then sent to industrial furnaces where it's combined with water and petroleum, which makes our final product Vulcanite blocks and some steam, and the steam is put through a condenser turbine which converts most of it back to water. Now this process is fairly complicated, but what makes it particularly difficult is the fact that planets with lots of Vulcanite also tend to be waterless. No water means we can't easily make the sulfur or petroleum, so those need to be shipped in. Or do they? Since we now have access to Cryonite, we can also freeze the water and ship it around that way. Water ice can stack to 200, and each ice holds 100 water, so every stack is 20,000. This is quite a good solution, because ice is almost free, and we don't have to ship any barrels, which is good, because barrels suck. While I was sorting all this out of my head, Ben joined the creative world and decided to build some plutonium reactors. Of course, seeing as we were in a creative world and had access to whatever we wanted, things very rapidly went off the rails.
Plutonium atomic bomb. Alright, Martin, where the f are you?
Don't shoot this, please. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's gonna shoot fast, okay? Let me do it.
Oh, there you go.
God.
Jesus Christ. My screen is just white.
What are you...
Look.
What's with all the worms, Ben?
Alright, Martin, in game blueprints, if you ever need a block of 23,000 worms, it's just fucking there.
Oh my god, that's a lot of worms.
Oh my god.
Worms. That's what that is.
Back in the game, we got a few things ready for our Vulcanite expansion and had a look around at the star map when we noticed an interesting structure in the asteroid belt. Day 6. Agni, our chosen destination for Vulcanite processing. But
I love that. Okay, so what is Agni then? Agni must mean something. I only know the name Agni from frickin' Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like the fire god or something, right? Right? Or is that just like a fan thing? Like, it's they have the Agni Kai, which is the fire duel. Do they ever say that they pray to a god named Agni, or is that just like something that people decided themselves? Either way, where's Agni from? Like, what is that? What is it for real in real life? Because apparently it is something real.
But first, more creative world to try and wrap my head around cargo rockets. Okay, it's been a few hours. Mart, did you wrap your head around cargo rockets?
Nope.
This large amount of Factorio I had been doing was definitely getting to me. My initial plan of being efficient called for a schedule, short breaks every hour or two, frequent meals, but all of that went out the window once I started actually playing. Yeah, sure, I could eat right now, but I'm almost done with my new smelter setup, and I think I know which is more important. This game.
I've been there. I do that all the time. It's so bad. And suddenly I'm like, oh, it's like been 7 hours. I need to like get up.
Really is crack. Anyway, I still had a job to do, and today it was to go to Agni and get some goddamn Vulcanite. I loaded up a rocket, this time remembering to bring the stuff I forgot last time, and flew over to our next big venture. I built another big-ass solar panel, stuck down 10,000 more accumulators because the day-night cycle is quite long, and once again, sat back and let the botters do all the hard work. And after a few hours of bringing more stuff from Norvis, the blueprint was built and Vulcanite was finally being processed. So I took it back home, made a setup to make iron ingots, loaded it all on delivery cannons, built even more space machines, and what do you know? Production science was automated.
Oh my
Wow.
god. It only took 82 hours.
Production science let us unlock a bunch of cool stuff. Better inserter configurations, beacons, bigger bot cargo capacity, Covrix enrichment, and best of all, incendiary artillery shells. These are like normal artillery shells, but spicier. And with that, I quit Factorio and went out with my friends to a nightclub. You know, for efficiency. Day 7. After a rather solid night out, leaving the club when the lights came on at 4 AM and getting home at 5, I went to bed, got nowhere near enough sleep, and hopped back on Factorio. However, as you can probably imagine, the powerful hangover I was battling with left me playing Factorio like a complete brick. So, I wasn't going to do anything complicated. Just some simple upgrades. Productivity Module 3s, some Covrix processing, concrete production to fuel my incredible cement addiction, some upgrades for the science setups, and finally, designing and building a nuclear reactor that takes no inspiration whatsoever from this one by Zisto. Nope, none. They just happen to be quite similar, for no particular reason. I completed the day with some copper smelting expansion.
Hey girl, are you a construction worker? Because you are building.
It simply just makes sense. It just makes sense though.
And right before I went to bed, I found this wonderful
Does it? Does it make sense? Oh, hi, Enos.
hidden text plate.
News.
Day 8. Our resources are running low, and that space we claimed on day 3, well, I think it could be larger. Right now, we need more copper, and while there's a little bit within our walls, there is much, much more, just a little outside of them. I think you see where this is going. It was time to expand our territory once again. I laid out a plan for a new wall, trying to use as much water as possible. But what's the point spending all this effort clearing out new territory if our wall is outdated and shit? So I hopped back into the creative world and built Wall version 2. For our new wall, I would be using some of our new upgrades. Each wall segment would have an artillery turret loaded with incendiary shells, but the main difference is in the train stops. The old system was dumb, but the new system is less dumb. This totally, fully necessary big blob of combinators reads the contents of these chests and calls the train when supplies run low. The main advantage of the new system is that once the station is built, the train will automatically come by, unload the materials and construction bots, and the bots will build the rest of it for me. The flamethrowers also now use napalm, since why not? Anyway, for us to actually build these walls, we would need to clear out a lot of biters. So I hopped back in the attack helicopter and got to work on our next grand expansion. The first wall segment had been placed, and thousands of biters had been sacrificed for it to happen. I quickly stuck down some copper outposts, and the factory's blood could flow yet again. Day 9. I wasn't done. Gentlemen, it was time to build the rest of the wall. To build it, I'd have to clear out thousands and thousands of biters. So, wanting to do things efficiently, I ran some tests. The attack helicopter was great, but it needed lots of rockets and it had health, so it could die. Oh, no. And while it was very fast, it could be faster. Introducing the Flying Fortress, one of the vehicles of all time. More health and faster speed. Surely this would be better than the helicopter.
Nope.
The Flying Fortress is an airplane, and airplanes have this little quirk where if you go below a certain speed, they go, I don't want to fly anymore, and they land.
Oh my god, they actually make that happen in this video game? Let's... Okay.
So, inevitably, while delivering high explosive rockets from the safety of my plane, I flew too slow, the plane landed itself, and I got mauled to death by an angry mob.
No. No.
Next up was our new incendiary artillery, which proved to be much more effective. Using manual targeting, I could clear entire giant nests in a few seconds. Even better, I could use the helicopter to get to an island, stick down the turrets, and rain death behind an impervious barrier of water. This was great, but it could be even better. Introducing artillery shells that are atomic bombs.
No.
Our arsenal was perfected, the blueprints were ready, and Operation Poopshit was a go.
Oh, Ben, I found the resonant frequency of my room. Would you like to hear the resonant frequency of my room?
Yes.
And would you look at that? The biters are all dead, and the wall is all built. Holy shit, I think that's it. In total, it took me about 13 hours of pure killing, paving, and building to get here. But it was definitely worth it, because safety and security had finally, for real this time, been achieved. Day 10. With our borders more secure than ever, it was time to continue on our Galactic Conquest. Ben and I, again seeing that spaceship in the asteroid belt, decided to hop in a rocket and go get it.
Alright, here it is, Ben.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
3,
probably-
2, 1, launch. Oh. And engage. Oh
Ooh,
shit.
that.
Oh, there we are. We're in Novice. I'm gonna go down here. Bam.
I'm fucking
That was
stuck
sick.
on this solar panel.
That's actually so cool. It's called the Cum Wagon.
Yeah.
Riding on the high of our successful bootstrapped spaceship experience, we scoured the star map for anything else interesting. And we found something interesting. An alien pyramid structure poking out of the ground on the surface of Agni. So, Ben and I headed over to Agni to take a look.
There it is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, shit. Thanks once again to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. Download them from the link in the description and the pinned comment.
Didn't the last video end there too? the So we still haven't explored this mysterious spaceship thing. Rude. I want to find out what's in like this weird thing. I want to know what's in it. Dang, and there isn't a part 3 yet. Shame. 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 Oh well, I guess when part 3 comes around, we'll see it. Granted, it took apparently like a year plus for him to actually upload this part 2. So let's see if part 3 let's see when part 3 decides to show up. All right. Well, that was part 2 of Martin Sitapance's expanding Factorio series. Again, like I said, if there's anything else by him specifically you want me to react to, let me know. I should probably watch the Australians in America one at some point. I know that Kid has already watched that one, but now that I've seen a few of his videos, I'm like, okay, yeah, I should probably watch it. I wanted to get kind of a couple of his videos under my belt before I went to that one specifically. But yeah, I'll get around to that one, especially if you tell me to. If you want to see anything else in particular, make sure you let me know again in the comments below. And make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. It really does help us out. And then and if you could subscribe to the channel, that would also help us out. We're trying to get to 100,000. We are getting closer. We're getting closer every day. And if you really want to help us out exponentially, then you could also become a patron. We do some extra videos there, things that are we can't post on YouTube for whatever reason. You can get some free or some uncut, unedited anime and movie reactions there. Lots of little polls and perks and all sorts of fun stuff if you do become a member of our Patreon community. So thank you again just for watching. We really appreciate it. And I hope to see you all again soon in the next video. Bye-bye.